I'm here to review The Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 6, titled Consumed. I really like this episode. Daryl and Carol, they really have a vibe together. They seem to get each other, and they also got an abuse thing in common. And I also love the chemistry between them. But aside from the chemistry, Daryl and Carol have a history together that I think it makes the story between them better. They definitely put a hidden Easter egg in this episode. The highway that we see Daryl and Carol in a car traveling on that night is the same highway in Atlanta that we saw Rick traveling on when he was riding that horse in Season 1, Episode 1. That night when Carol and Daryl runs out of gas in Atlanta after they was following that car, Carol ends up taking Daryl to an empty temporary housing building. Now once they get in, Daryl asks Carol. He says, "You used to work here or something?" And Carol replies, "Something," but she never gave Daryl a real answer to the question that he asked her. But later on, it's revealed in this episode that is indeed a homeless shelter, because when she was talking to Daryl later on, she tells Daryl that her and her daughter Sophia went to that homeless shelter to get away from her abusive husband Ed. But before she stayed a full day there, she chose to go back home. And once she made it back home, Ed had jumped on her and beat her up because she had left. Now, when they get into that homeless shelter, you will see a book, and on that book it says, "Treating survivors of child abuse." Now that book has some good symbol, has a good symbolic meaning to it, because that book represents Daryl's past, and when Daryl sees that book, it brings back memories of his past on how his father used to drink. Now once their father drink, he would beat on him and Merle and abuse them. So it brings back memories of Daryl getting jumped, when Daryl used to get jumped on by his father, when his father used to jump on him. And also that book, Treating Survivors That Survive Child Abuse, is the same book that Herschel had gave Lizzie in Season 4 before he died. And Lindsay kept the book until her death happened. Now Carol ends up keeping the book after Lindsay's death. We also get flashback scenes of Carol in this episode. And the smoke that we always saw in the flashback scenes coming from this fire had a symbolic meaning to it. Because when the prison got attacked, a couple of things got destroyed. The smoke that was coming from Mitch's tank, on Army tank, had smoke coming up. That's how Carol was able to see from a distance when the prison had got attacked, because she saw smoke in the air. When she had went to tournaments, she had caused destruction until she caused a couple of things to blow up in tournaments, and the fire that had got set in tournaments caused smoke to go in the air. When she burnt Karen and David grave, or when she burnt Karen and David at the prison, you saw smoke coming from the fire and it was in the air. When Carol had saved Rick and the rest of the group at tournaments, you could see smoke coming from tournaments from the fire that had got set, but she ends up crying and ends up falling to her knees. Now, the symbolism behind that smoke, because when Carol was talking to Daryl, she tells Daryl, "My days are consumed like smoke. Everything now, it just consumes you." That was the symbolism. That's the reason why we saw so much smoke in the flashback scenes, because like she tells Daryl, "My days are consumed like smoke. Everything now, it just consumes you." In the episode title, Consumed, it means how Carol is consumed by her own guilt. That's where the episode title comes from. And I love the character interaction between Carol and Daryl, because when they were talking in a room that night, Carol asked Daryl, she said, you said we get to start over. She asked Daryl, "Did you?" And then Daryl replies, "I'm trying. Why don't you say what's really on your mind?" And then Carol replies back saying, "I don't think we get to save people anymore." And then Daryl says, "Why are you here then?" And I know what he meant by that. He's asking her, "Why are you here? If you don't feel like you can't be saved, or you don't feel like you can't change, then why are you here with me?" And then Carol replies back to Daryl and she says, "I'm trying. Just like he said when she first asked him about, you said that we get to start over, and then Daryl says, "I'm trying." Or she asks him, "You said we get to start over," and she asks Daryl, "Did you?" And then Daryl says, "I'm trying." When Daryl asks her, "Why are you here then? Why are you here if you don't feel like you can be saved?" And she tells Daryl the same question that he gave her, or reply, "I'm trying." And I know what she meant by this. She meant mentally, not physically. She could have meant both. But but at that day and age, I know what she meant, because you now have humans that are threats now, or that have became threats now, and you have humans, as Abraham said, that has gotten to the point where they are strong now. So I understand what she said when she asked that question. I don't think people can be saved anymore. And I love how they had Daryl step up to the plate and take all the tough decisions away from Carol, and he now makes them for her because she's been through so much in terms of making tough decisions in a lot of stuff. Now Daryl is the one doing it, and he's showing her that you don't have to do this alone. I'm here. Because when they see that zombie child, or when they look in the room and look at that door, they can see the reflection of a zombie child in that room. It brings back pain because she had a child. Like I said, her child name was Sophia. In season 2, Sophia got bitten and turned into a zombie, and it brings back pain when she saw that. And that's the reason why she was willing to take down that zombie before she was willing to take down the adult zombie that was in the next room, because it reminds her of Sophia. And you can see how Daryl stops her and he tells her, "No, don't do it. I got this." Because he knows that she's been through a lot. And he's showing her that I'm here. You don't have to make all the tough calls by yourself. And I love when she wakes up in the morning and Daryl is outside of the building, and he has a fire started, and he has the dead child body in his hand, and the dead child is wrapped in bed covers. And I love how that scene pays homage to Mecca and Lizzie, because because you also see a flashback after he burns the dead child's body. You see a flashback of Tyrese and Carol burying Mecca and Lizzie, and their bodies are both wrapped up in bed covers, just like the dead child is when Daryl's about to burn it. So it pays homage to them, but also in another way, it kind of brings back pain for Carol in that scene. And I love when Carol comes outside and she tells Daryl, she says, "Thank you." Now a lot of people were saying, well, she didn't really have to say thank you to Daryl. It was unnecessary because their relationship is already established. They they already know how each other feel, how they feel about each other, and they already know about making tough decisions. So she didn't really have to come out there and say it. But that thank you has so much symbolism in it, because in season 2, she thanked Daryl. And you got to remember, Carol don't use the word thank you often. She doesn't use it. This is her second time throughout the entire series using the word thank you. In the tone of her voice, in the way that she said it, it matches the same tone of her voice in the way that she said it when she told Daryl thank you in season 2. Because when Daryl was looking for Sophia, he ended up getting shot by Andrea by accident. And he's in the bed and she brings Daryl food. And she tells Daryl, "You was out here looking for Sophia." And she says her own father would have never did that. And she kisses Daryl on the cheek and she tells Daryl, "Thank you." The same tone of her voice matches the same tone of her voice when she thanked him for burning that child's body. And you can tell when she told Daryl, "Thank you," she wanted to thank him for a lot more stuff, but she didn't know how to come out and say it. She wanted to tell him, "Thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for forgiving me. Thank you for always being there. Thank you for always having my back. But most importantly, thank you for not judging me. Because when her and Daryl was in that building in Atlanta, she asked Daryl, because she was looking at the building in Atlanta, and the building had burnt char on the side of the building, and that building had some symbolism in it too, because it's like when a building was burnt, it was meant to be how a human being body is burnt. But when she meant by herself being burnt, when she told Daryl that she's burnt, or she felt like she was burnt, she meant evolution. She meant being burnt, but able to come out those ashes and evolve. It's like a cocoon, being stuck in a cocoon, but coming out the cocoon. Now the butterfly that used to be a caterpillar has now evolved to a butterfly. And it's like the ashes. It's like she was in the ashes. She comes out the ashes, and now she's evolved. She's a new human being, and that's what she was telling Daryl when she was talking to him about her feeling like she was burnt. But when she was talking to Daryl in the building, she noticed that Daryl never judged her, and that's why she was so thankful for that. But at the same time, when they was in the building in Atlanta, she was talking to Daryl, and she told Daryl, "You never asked me what happened after I met Tyrese and I was with the girls." And then Daryl replies, "The girl's not here now." So he kind of know what happened, but he don't got the full story. But he don't want to hear it, because he tells Carol, and he was letting her know the message was, no matter what you did, it's in the past. And he tells Carol, we have to change. That's in the past. It already happened. And I love when Daryl was burning the body. I really appreciate the episode editors that edit these episodes, because they played a very important symbolism soundtrack, or a symbolic soundtrack. I love that soundtrack that they played when Daryl was about to burn that child, because that soundtrack, it represents putting a human to rest, but also stopping that human from suffering. But it also is sending that human a proper farewell. Because when Daryl was burning that body, he was giving that child a proper farewell. When Daryl killed that zombie child, it was to stop the suffering. In The Walking Dead season 1, Rick did the same thing in episode 1 of The Walking Dead season 1, when he found that female zombie with half of a missing body. He looks at it, and that soundtrack comes on. And once that soundtrack comes on, you get that feeling of Rick is about to give this zombie a proper farewell.
I'm sorry this happened to you.
And I like the scene when Carol and Daryl get into a heated argument, because the writers did an excellent job with that scene, because each character felt like they had a point to make, so therefore it was never no dull moments, because each character had a comeback for the character that asks the other character the question. So there was never a dull moment where a character just stops and thinks about the question that they being asked. They like had an instant comeback for the question. When Daryl asks Carol something, she got an instant comeback. When Carol asks Daryl something, he got an instant comeback. It wasn't no dull moment, and it made it feel like it was a real argument between the two. And when Carol tells Daryl the reason why she left the group was because she didn't want to see nobody around her die, she meant that she wanted to be in a group, and she wants to protect the group. But the way she goes about protecting the group, and the way she goes about killing people that's trying to hurt the group, she feel like she will get shot down for it. And it's not about judging, because she don't care about being judged. Not at all. Like I said, it's about being shot down. Like when she killed Darren, like when she killed David and Karen, she felt like she did it to protect the group, but at the same time, she got shot down for it by Rick because Rick didn't like it. So that's the reason why she left, because she felt like if I can't protect the group, and if I try to protect the group and I get shot down for it, then I'm leaving. I don't want to see the people around me that I love die. And the dialogue between them two, it was phenomenal. I loved it. But also, when they was arguing, she was telling Daryl that she felt like she was questioning God. She really don't believe in God, and she tells Daryl, "You say you changed, but you haven't." And then when she tells Daryl about why she left the group, Daryl tells her, "But you here now." So again, it's signs that you are trying to change. Because if you wasn't trying to change, and also if you didn't care about if you felt like you couldn't protect the group and you ready to leave, then why are you here protecting me right now, helping me out? That's what he meant by that question, because she stated, like I said, she stated that she felt like she couldn't protect the group the way she wanted without being shot down all the time. She said she didn't want to see nobody around her get hurt, so she left. But yet she's there with Daryl, a person that she loves, and he's shooting down her opportunity. Like the first opportunity to shoot, no, he shot the opportunity down. But yet she's still there with him. And that's the reason when he asked her, "Why are you still here?" It makes sense. We see Carol and Daryl getting into a van. I had a minor complaint about that scene because in the Comic-Con trailer, I think it would have been more cooler if the van would have actually flipped off the bridge and fell on the roof, because that would have looked like it was going to happen in the Comic-Con trailer. But in this episode, the van falls off the bridge, but it lands on the tires. It like completely lands, but Carol get injured in the process. So I could tell that the special effect guys kind of had to do a lot of editing for that scene. But like I say, I kind of like the Comic-Con trailer part better when the van flips off the bridge and not just fall off and lands. Now I understand for actors' protection they probably did it, but like I said, you can tell that a lot of stuff was re-edited when the special effect guys was working on that scene. And when Carol was in that van, you can see a comfort zone. You can see, and you felt relaxed because you see Carol and Daryl grab hands, and Carol, then it made Carol realize that Daryl is there for her. It was true. It felt real to me because when they grabbed each other's hand before they had fell off that bridge or preparing themselves to fall off the bridge, you see a Jesus Christ statue in the front dashboard of the van. But when they grabbed each other's hands, it felt so real to me. And she felt like, wow, this guy is really there for me. Even in our possible last dying moments, he's still here. Because when he grabs her hand, it's just amazing. And I love the final scene of Daryl testing Carol to see has she really started to change, because when that bookshelf had fell on Noah, Daryl acted like he didn't want to help Noah. So he started walking off and he tells Carol, "No, I'm not going to save him." And Carol is asking Daryl to save him. Now prior to that, Carol mentioned that she don't think you can save people anymore. Now that was her opportunity to do it. And Carol realized that, and she was about to save Noah, but right before she was about to stab the zombie in the head to finish him off, Daryl fires his crossbow, or he shoots an arrow from his crossbow, and he kills the zombie instead. Daryl already had that crossbow positioned to fire at that zombie anyway, because he was already going to help Noah. He just wanted to test Carol and see where her mind was at, and like I said prior, to see if she was really changing or trying to change. And I love after that scene, Daryl asks Carol, "Are you alright?" But it was a different ask, or it was a different "Are you alright?" He meant by "Are you alright?" Or are you still the same Carol? Because he asked Carol, "Are you alright?" And Carol replies, "I'm still here." Now if the scene could have been different, because I can see if he would have asked her, "Are you all right?" And then she replies back and say, well, "Yeah, I'm fine. Ain't nothing happened. I'm fine." But yet she didn't say that. She say, "I'm still here," meaning that I'm still the same Carol. And I love how Daryl acts that because he really didn't have no reason to ask that because she didn't get harmed by that zombie when that zombie was trying to attack Noah. So he didn't have no reason to ask that at all. But it was a different it's a different way how he asked it. Like it had a symbolic meaning to it of showing signs of Carol changing and that the old Carol is still there. In the final scene, you see them trying to you see them trying to escape and go to another building that Noah had told them about because the police officers had heard some gunshots in that building when Noah had shot that zombie or trying to kill it. Now police officers start coming to the city and looking around. Now, Carol ends up running outside the building and she ends up getting hit by a car and she ends up getting captured. And I love the final scene when Norman Reedus is real angry and he's trying to run outside to get Carol, but Noah tells him, no, no, don't do it, don't do it. They have medicine, they have food, they can help her. But the acting in that scene was so intense because you saw Norman Reedus, the actor Norman Reedus, really playing that role as if he was in that position in real life, and that's what I loved about the acting from Norman Reedus, and Melissa McBride in this episode. These characters take these roles so serious to the point when they act, they're not just really acting because they have to do it. They acting how they would act in a real zombie apocalypse. And I love the acting from Melissa McBride and Norman Reedus. Great episode, great acting. 10 out of 10 for me. 10 out of 10. So remember, subscribe, give me a like or a thumbs up on the video, and everybody have a blessed day. And I'll see you guys later. was about to get ready to kill us.